Hello team, today we are going to discuss with you one more important command that may help you to modify commit history. Today we'll talk about cherry pick command. As usual, we'll discuss when we need to use this command. After we'll understand when we need to use cherry pick command, we'll proceed with our practice exercise to understand how we can use it. In this lesson I will share with you my experience of using cherry pick. And I will tell you why this command is not considered as a best practice, and even despite that, why we may need to use this command sometime. I am going to teach you how to cherry pick multiple commits at once and how to resolve conflicts during cherry picking. And at the end of the lesson, I will share with you best practices of using cherry pick. So, when we have to use cherry pick? There are different cases when you might want to use cherry pick command. Some of them. Deliver hotfix to the end user as fast as possible. Imagine that you created release branch. Release branch should contain only source code that is going to be part of the build of your application that is going to be deployed on your production environment, where it will be available to the end user. And imagine that you realize that during rebasing or merging of the latest changes before creation of the release branch, you missed important change and now you have a defect in the release branch. The fix for this defect is present in the snapshot in your feature branch. It was tested, it was approved. So, the only thing that you have to do is to move the commit from the feature branch to your release branch. And to move one snapshot from one branch to another, we have to use git cherrypick command. Or imagine another case. Undoing changes and restoring lost commits. Not all branches are merged into the master branch, and some commits might be lost. Using git reflog command, you may find snapshots that you need and cherrypick it into your branch. One more scenario. Regular team collaboration. In case you and team members work on the same feature and you have some shared functionality, you may want to test something on your branch that includes other changes. For example, backend engineers created a data structure that frontend team also needs to use, and frontend developers may use cherrypick command to get those changes into their branch. Probably during the life of the developer, you will find other real-life cases when you may use cherrypick command. But I believe you understand why you may want to use it. And now attention! I don't want you to share with your tech leads information that Andriy Petaha told you that using of cherrypick is the best practice. I want to say that cherrypick command usually considered as not a good practice, and regular merges are preferred instead when it is possible. But sometimes you may want to use this command. Why git cherrypick is considered as not a best practice? Notice, I said literally consider it not as a best practice, but not necessarily the bad thing. To understand this, let's review how git cherrypick works. It creates, attention, separate commit with different hash and has no reference to original commit. Content of commit will be fully duplicated, but Git will consider new commit and original one as two different commits. That's why some developers may consider cherrypick as a bad thing, because it may cause problems like having duplicate commits in multiple branches, messing up with Git history and others. But in case you are using this command attentively, there is no harm in it. For example, there might be cases when you can't merge some branch because it contains a lot of other changes that are not needed anymore. And at some specific moment of time you need only one single commit. That's where cherrypick command may help you. So, use cherrypick with caution. At the end of the lesson we are going to summarize rules that you have to follow during the cherrypicking. Now, let me show you the real example of cherrypicking in Git. For this lesson, for the sake of the demo, I prepared branch with few commits. Let me briefly explain you the state of my current repository so that you would understand the example. Imagine that I am working on the implementation of login functionality, and I created separate branch for that with the name TA308 login. You can see that I am currently on it. Let me show you the commit history of what I have already done. Git log with option 1 line -3. The option 1 line allows me to format output in a bit different way than usual. I press enter. Here what I have already done while being on this branch. I implemented styles for login button. Also, I implemented backend part of login feature. And here is a snapshot of the origin master branch. And imagine that during the testing of my work, quality assurance engineers found a lot of defects. And we are not in the position to merge my branch TA308 into the master branch. But everybody really liked the styling of my login button. And product owner requested to have the other buttons in the same style. That's why I want to prepare a pull request for only styles of my button, and we'll merge that branch into the master so that other developers also would be able to pick up that changes while I will be fixing all the defects with backend code for the next week or two. Just joking, you know that I would fix it faster. But just as an example. This shouldn't be a problem because I will rebase my branch with the backend code on the master before merging. Or even just remove styling snapshot from the current branch. Do you understand the real life case? Let me now show you how to do that. First of all, let me create the branch from the latest master branch. Git switch master. Git switch with option C TA309 button styles. Okay, I am on the new branch. And imagine that I did some changes in the login CSS file. Just did any random changes. Nano style /login.css. Let me write here some text. Some changes. And save it. Now let me commit this. Git commit with option A and with option M, some commit. I press enter. And now, being on this branch, I have to cherry pick this commit with checksum EC6B5EC. To copy that commit and apply it on my new branch, let me execute the next command. Git cherry pick EC6B5EC. In case we wouldn't adjust the login CSS file, we won't see conflicts here and your commit would be applied. But that is way too easy for you. I wanted to imitate state of the conflict during the cherry picking to show you the process of the conflict resolving during the cherry pick. You see that Git indicates that we are in the process of the cherry picking, and Git gives us advice to resolve conflicts and add files to the staging area. Let me check Git status. And you see here in unmerged path, it is said that there is a conflict in login CSS file. So let's open it in the editor and let's resolve the conflicts. Nano styles /login CSS. We'll imitate the fact that we resolved all conflicts. Now let's mark this file as resolved. Git add dot. Now let's continue our cherry picking process. To do this, let's perform the next command. Git cherry pick with option continue. And Git allows us to adjust commit message. By default, it keeps the origin commit message of the previous commit. Let's save and close this file. And we can see that we applied our changes here. Let's check our commit history. Git log with option 1 line -3. And here's our new commit. And attention, in case you would compare a checksum of this commit and checksum of original commit from TA308 branch, you're going to find that they are different. That means that these two are not the same commit. This one is just a copy of the first one. And now, few more important variations and options of cherry pick command. In case something went wrong during the conflict resolution, you can just abort the process of cherry picking like this. Git cherry pick with option abort. Also, if you wish, you may cherry pick multiple commits at once. To do this, just specify checksum of all commits separated by space like this. Git cherry pick EC6B5EC and 3F31666. Those are two commits from our demo. Now, when you know how to use cherry pick, let's talk about the best practices. The rule number 1. If it's not critical and you can apply necessary changes with merge, opt for merge option. It is considered to be a general practice to prefer merge option over cherry pick. Rule number 2. Avoid creating any duplication by using cherry pick. If you cherry picked commits and removed old branch or just reset the old branch, that's fine, and this will not lead to any issues. Potential issues may happen in case you keep two branches and have duplicated commits. Rule number 3. Sometimes it is considered as a good practice during the cherry pick to specify the hash code of the original commit. Git may help you to do this in case you will use X option like this. Git cherry pick with option X. This option will automatically add the information about the original commit into your new one. And here on the screenshot you may see how your commit message will look like. You learned a lot today about cherry pick. Let's recap what we have learned today. Now you know when you may need to apply cherry pick command, because we discussed with you different cases when this command will help you. Also, you understood why cherry pick is not considered to be as a good practice. On real example you saw how to resolve conflicts during cherry picking. Now you know how to cherry pick multiple commits at once. And at the end of the lesson we learned best practices of using cherry pick command. That's all for today. Thanks a lot for your attention and see you in the next lesson.